everybody. So I've been getting a lot of messages in my DMs and they've been asking me about some of my design techniques. So long story short, I'm a DIYer, but I'm a DIYer that likes to use things that I have in the house. I'm not very technically crafty. Like, I'm crafty, but I don't really have like the skill set. So I like to take shortcuts. So today I'm gonna do what's called a Shibori technique. I'll give you an example of Shibori. So this pillow is one that I bought. It was made like this already, but I love the technique. It really adds to my eclectic African Eastern decor. So it's denim and you know, it has this real cool pattern on it. So I tried to find something that would match it and I couldn't. So I found a technique called Shibori, which is a Japanese dyeing technique. So generally Shibori is used on like white fabric and they dye it indigo, and then they manipulate it where some of the fabric doesn't dye. I wanted to do kind of like a reverse Shibori. So I bought these really cool curtains for my kitchen. They're full denim. I got them from Overstock. They were very inexpensive. They're 84 inches long, so they're perfect for most windows. They have the grommets up on top, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with these curtains. Come with me. So my kitchen currently has these really old-fashioned vertical blinds. I don't like them, but I haven't changed them because I really have, you know, gone over what I wanted to replace them with. So I decided that I'm going to put drapes up, but instead of pulling the whole system down, what I'm going to do is come closer. Let me show you what I'm going to do. As you can see up here, each of these little slats has a little plastic thing that holds them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place my drapes, each grommet, in each little plastic fastener. And so this way I'll still be able to continue to use this with my draperies, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't, you'll see the finished work at the end. So, okay, follow me. So what I'm going to do is, because the grommets are too thick for those little fasteners, I thought about using some wire, and as you can see here, I started kind of putting some wire together, and that worked fine, but it was time consuming. Went to the dollar store yesterday and found these nylon cable ties. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put the nylon cable ties on these, close it till it's about this length, and clip off the end, and then pop that in there. It's just much easier, and it was $1. The other thing that that I did was I wanted to take a shortcut. I really didn't want to mess with bleach, like big buckets of bleach, but I did find these Clorox bleach pens. And the Clorox bleach pens, they have two sides. One is a pen side and one is a brush side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay out my draperies and I'm going to paint on the design that I want. Before I do that, I'm going to lay out a tarp, again from the dollar store. It's just a little dollar paint tarp. And let's just see how it works. The drapes were not super expensive, so hopefully, you know, I won't mess up. But if I do, at least I have some pretty cool denim fabric that I can use for other things. I could use them as a head wrap. I can make a caftan with it. So either way, these won't go bad. If they're not good enough to put up as drapes, they definitely will be good enough to use for, you know, some type of clothing or some type of other DIY project. So we're gonna pause the video right now and get set up, so stay tuned. Okay, so we're back. What I've done is I pretty much just laid out my tarp and laid out my fabric. You remember, this is the technique we're going for. It's a Shibori technique. Now, if this was done true Shibori style, this pillow, this would have been a white pure cotton pillow that they use indigo dye to dye it with. Probably like they did the back. Instead, they just manipulated it with some type of fasteners or, you know, something like that. Well, because I already have dyed fabric, and the reason I didn't go the full Shibori indigo dyeing technique is because you really don't know what type of blue you're gonna get when you are dyeing with indigo fabric dye. I really wanted to make sure that I got the color blue that I wanted. So that's why it was important that I found the perfect denim curtains. So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to show you the finished work. But before I do that, I'm going to lay down my tea and the pillow and I'm going to do my first marking with you on the video. I think I'm going to use the pin part. Now it says very specifically not to open both sides at the same time. So again, this serving as my guide, you notice that it's not perfect. I'm going to allow the grommets to be my my line. So I'm just going to do circles. Oh, and it comes out pretty quickly. So I don't want them to be too perfect. That's the first thing I'm going to do is just the circles. Again, I don't want them to be too perfect. But I do want that grommet to be my line. And the beauty of this, you see how I just kind of, you know, made that marking right there? It doesn't matter. It's Shibori or, you know, a tie-dye. So it doesn't have to be perfect. This print always reminds me of like African mud cloth. And as you would see the decor in my house, I use a lot of mud cloth. So this always reminds me, I think I want to kind of pull a line through the center of some of these. So just a little bit of bleach through the center of some of them just to add more character so that they're not so uniform. Again, I don't want anything too uniform. That's just not me. Mostly because I tend to make what some would say are a lot of mistakes. I don't call them mistakes. My son, who is my generous cameraman, just said, "Mom, what if you make a mistake?" I'm like, the beauty of DIY is really there is no mistake. Thank you, baby. If this doesn't, you know, come out like I had planned, it just becomes something different. So no mistakes, no pressure. I kind of do DIY the way I do art. I wouldn't consider myself an artist, mainly because I love art. I love the gift that artists have, so I wouldn't insult them by calling myself an artist, more so a creative. But even when I'm doing art, I have a tendency of just using my own style. I've never received any training. I don't know what brushes to use, what paint to use. Sometimes I use just my hands and I'll just paint with my fingers. So I think just not having that skill allows me just to have a no worries type attitude with these types of projects. So as you can see, this is pretty simple. It's going pretty quickly. You can also do this with like clothing. If you have some denim or some fabric that you want to try to make a bit more interesting, you can definitely use this technique. Again, I just want to kind of put some lines through it. Okay, so this is my first line. I'm gonna finish playing with it up here. I'm gonna finish playing with it. I think what I'm gonna do after I do that, I'm gonna take the brush mark and I just want to kind of brush it out a little so it can just, and the brush actually has Clorox in it as well, but I don't really want to use the brush to pull the Clorox out. I just want to use it to manipulate the design. So hopefully the brush will give me some lines with it. And that's pretty much what I'm going to do with the brush. And then I'm going to just play with it. I'm going to play with it, leave it on for about, I don't know, 15 minutes. I've not really seen where anybody has done this technique. I've gone on Pinterest, I've gone on YouTube, I've Googled. I've not seen this actual technique done, so I'm kind of flying, you know, blind. But we'll see. It's bleach. It's going to do what bleach does. So I'll give it about 15 minutes and we'll see what happens, but I'll take some pictures of the final technique and hopefully it'll turn out good. Anyway, see you soon.